Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Go ahead and talk, John. I get myself. Well, we got me. I'm not sure we got you. All right. Well, I'm going to work on that. Are they gridding? Shit. Try again, maybe? How about now? No. Give me a shot, John. No, nothing yet. That change by iRacing just impacted us big time. But I have no audio. I'm not even getting iRacing audio at this point, so that's the problem too. Well, that's not going to work out well. Yeah, but there's so much more to restart. But let's give it a second. I'm just still clicking options here, trying to figure out something to. All right, how about now?
Testing 1 2 3 testing.
All right, how about now?
Testing 1 2 3 testing.
I got you.
There we go. Yeah, we're good. I think we are good. So welcome, everybody. Sorry about those technical difficulties, but welcome to the Motegi 190 here in the Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series, brought to you by, obviously, Speed Demon Setups, Elevated Outdoors, York Realty, Affordable SEO and Marketing, and Butt Kicker as well. So this is going to be a fun race, Rick. I got to say, this is a track that we typically don't go to because it's Japan.
That's correct. Do we want to? Is there a pace lap? Of course. Do you want to go to our qualifying and just run through that?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and run to the qualifying order. Right now, at the top of the board, you have Justin Diltz, Brian Chapman starting in second, Alan Corral there in third, Brandon Barrier in fourth, Ty Bostic in fifth, James K. Miller in sixth, Brian Wiggins in 7th, Mark Sikosi in 8th, and rounding out your 9 drivers here in the Motegi 190 is Dan Withers.
Well, let's go on to the race information since we talked about it, but no one heard us.
Yeah, so we have a 124-lap event here tonight at the Twin Ring Motegi in Japan. Stage breaks at lap 30 and at lap 60. 7 sets of tires, 1 qualifying lap, which already has been said. Track temperature is a little bit high for a 72-degree evening, or a 72-degree day here in Japan with about 49% humidity. And so, yeah, this race is going to be a pretty long one. They run about 37-38 seconds there. And really quick, 3 keys to the race. Watch your corner exit, pay attention to your tire wear, and focus on your long run strategy. Well, Rick, as I finish that statement, pace car is now dropped off, and we are about to go green here in the Motegi 190 here in Japan, and they are off.
We're off. This is a very interesting track, John. As you mentioned, not a typical NASCAR stop. There was a NASCAR trip overseas. I think it was 1998 that NASCAR brought cars to this track. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was definitely a long time ago, and I think it'd be cool to see these cars back. Maybe in the Cup, the new Cup cars here in Japan, maybe in the Twin Ring or Suzuki. Wherever they decide to run. But yeah, and it'd be really interesting. But right now, looking at everything, that number 19 of Justin Diltz of Elevated Motorsports is taking the charge here early on lap 2 of 124 here with Chapman in 2nd, Alan Kroll in 3rd, Ty Bostic in 4th, and then Brandon Barrier there rounding out your top 5 with Wiggins in 6th, Withers in 7th, Miller in 8th, and Mark Sikosi is not on the track. He has not put up a time yet, but he is in the 9th position in that number 2 AC Delco machine. I think he is bringing around the rear, if I'm not mistaken. So looking to see kind of what these guys can do here in Japan. Not a typical track they go to, as we have a little bit of a close battle for second between Chapman and Kroll there. A little bit of a close battle. Let's go. A little bit of loose out of the 7 car. Oh, car on the inside. Brandon Barrier. Brandon Barrier has smacked the inside wall.
Looks like he saved it. Don't see a whole lot of damage, but we did not have a yellow come out, so that's a positive thing.
Yes, it is. And we were watching him in practice specifically, and he was struggling with turn 2 exit. It was really loose on him. So you saw a product of that right there. But good job hanging on to it. Doesn't look like he actually had any damage on that car, which
Doesn't
is
look
fantastic.
like that, yeah.
So they are going to keep this thing green. And right now, Justin Diltz is checking out. Already out to over a 1-second lead on the field over Chapman, Kroll, Bostic, and Wiggins there.
Yep, this field is beginning to spread out a little bit. This is, again, this is an open session, an open setup league. So, guys bring what they've figured out and how they can put a setup together. And this track doesn't run or drive like the typical tracks we see on the NASCAR circuit. You've got a relatively flat oval, and you've got interesting non-symmetrical corners. So
and just looking at this battle now between the 7 and the 9, they're basically very similar lap times, Rick. They've been very consistent over the last 3 to 4 laps. And looking at that lead, it's kind of steadied out at 1.2 to 1.3 seconds. So we'll see exactly where that lead goes as the night goes on. But right now, it looks like Justin Diltz is checking out.
Yeah, well, really the top 4 have definitely stretched out their times between the 5th place car of Brandon Barrier and then Brian Wiggins behind him, James Miller, and then Dan Withers. So probably a good time there, since we're kind of spread out the way we are. We can kind of run through the order and spotlight our drivers a bit. So
absolutely. Let's start with our leader for tonight's Motegi 190 in the number 19. You got Justin Diltz out of Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania, one of those Elevated Motorsports drivers. They are a top 4 in the standings right now, so very strong team there for Elevated. In P2, you have Ryan Chapman, another Elevated Motorsports driver, in the number 7 Speed Demon Setups Camaro. Always see him running well and always see him running up at the top 3 every single race. In third, you have Alan Kroll, another Elevated Motorsports driver. They are sweeping the top 3 right now in that Elevated Outdoors machine, that green, white, and neon yellow number 9. There, he always is consistent up the front. Let's go back to our 4th place driver of Ty Bostic out of Rockingham, North Carolina, out of Southern E Motorsports. He is looking to put a stop to this Elevated Motorsports barrage of sweeps. They just like to sweep the field, sweep the races, sweep the stages, and sweep the point standings. So Ty Bostic is looking to upset that team tonight here in the Motegi 190. Going back to 5th, you have Brandon Barrier out of Eden, North Carolina for Barrier Racing. He has had a little bit of a struggle earlier on in this race with that slide, so his tires may be a little bit more worn, but he is looking to finish strong here tonight in the Motegi 190. In 6th, Brian Wiggins, a new face to the NSRO Grand National Series, driving that very familiar Tide paint scheme in the number 1 car out of Gardenia, California. So good to see a new face in the league. Another new face, you have James K. Miller there in that very famous Days of Thunder Exxon number 18 machine. What a cool paint scheme, but don't look too far back now. As soon as I said that, going underneath him is Mark Sikosi in the number 2, Rick. We have a pass there. So another Elevated Motorsports driver, Mark Sikosi, in that very famous number 2 AC Delco Camaro. That is a paint scheme that everybody recognizes, especially if you are a Busch Series or Xfinity Series fan, Nationwide Series fan even, depending on how far you want to go back. But he is now up to 7th. And rounding out your 9 drivers here tonight, you have Dan Withers out of St. Martin's, New Brunswick, our only Canadian in this field, out of Southern E Motorsports. So looking to see how he can perform. He comes on pretty late in the race. He is a Kevin Harvick of sorts, if you want to call it that, a closer. I'm pretty sure he'll appreciate me calling him Kevin Harvick. Their relations there a little bit like Kevin Harvick. But he is always there at the end of the race, whether it's through just battling back, getting through the wrecks, staying consistent. You always see Dan there at the end trying to make a push for a win. And that is your field for tonight's Motegi 190. And they're about a 10th of the way through, and we have a little bit of a closer battle now between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It looks like those 2 Elevated Motorsports drivers are catching their teammate there of the number 19, Rick, and this may be a very interesting battle in about 5 laps, depending on if the 7 and the 9 can pass.
Absolutely. So you have to assume to some extent that since they're teammates, they probably shared a bit of information about their setup, so that kind of makes you think it's coming down to drivers. So,
absolutely. It sure is. And right now, those 3 drivers are checking out, but don't look too far back. That 22 is lurking back there, just saying, I'm just going to stay right here, stalk you guys for a while, see what your line is, see what you're doing maybe a little bit better than I am, or what I'm doing a little bit better than you are, and position myself for a pass. Bostic there is about 2.2 seconds back.
You see
right now,
the second group back, that the 5th, 6th, and 7th has a nearly an 8-second deficit between themselves and the leaders.
Absolutely, and it's going to be very interesting to see how those drivers in the back play a factor in the end of this race, because we do have stages. So everybody's going to be re-racked, restacked, and going back to green side by side. As Rick, if we look right there, the 1 and the 2 are very close together. We may see a pass here between Mark Sikosi and Wiggins. So we'll see if Mark goes to the bottom, and he actually does go to the bottom. So Mark Sikosi going to 6th. And Rick, I believe we actually have a battle right now between Chapman and Crowell there. Chapman is trying to pass his teammate. And, Chapman closed the door, but that number 9 is very close to the bumper of that number 7.
It's a tight battle up at the front between these three drivers for certain.
Yes,
They have the two of them have caught and basically negated that slight lead that Justin Diltz had over the field, and I think depending on how it all works out, of course, there's, with this being a flat track, tire wear is very is a factor here. So we'll see how that plays with these guys.
Yes, it is, and shout out to everybody in the YouTube chat right now. Hey guys, I'm Angel. Good to see you every Tuesday night. Glad you're able to join us. You're about, you only miss about 10% of the race. You got 90% of the race to go. But yeah, Rick, you are right. We'll see how these drivers are able to fare out tonight, because those top three more than likely are running very similar, if not identical setups. So it's going to be who can drive the car the best. But going to your point about tires, that was my second key to this race, is keeping, just let me elaborate on my keys, because I had to rush through them really quick. So basically, number one is watch corner exit. You can definitely slide coming out of these corners. Same thing that you'll see at the Milwaukee Mile. Same thing you'll see at some of these flatter tracks. You don't want to slide and burn up your tires. So this ties right into point number two, tire wear. Tire wear is going to be the name of the game here, and who can preserve their tires the longest. That is going to be a major factor in tonight's race. And then the number three key of this 190-mile event is going to be the long run strategy, and I specifically mean in stage 3. That is a 64-lap run. The first two runs are 30 laps apiece, and then that last run is going to be 64 laps, so double. It's going to be very important to see which drivers are able to make their cars work on the long run versus the short run, and that is what I really want to pay attention to. I can't pick a winner for this race, but I know I'm going to pay attention to see who has the long run speed. And right now, just purely looking at lap times, I mean, those top three are identical. You have Mark Sikosi there, who is another elevated motorsports driver. I expect him to be up at the front here of not too long. And then just kind of seeing where everybody else is going to be. But Rick, those are the three keys to the race. And, talking about pit road really quick, pit road speed is 45 miles an hour. So you're going to seem like you're crawling around this 1.5-mile track once you make it down pit road.
Absolutely. And speaking of pit road, we've had a number of takers for an early set of tires. We've got Dan Withers currently on pit road. We had Brandon Berrier already on pit road. And it is a long pit road, and certainly will affect you.
Yes, it is. And looking at that, it looks like we did have Dan maybe have some connection issues, but Dan Withers is now out of the race. Not really sure what happened on his end, but as we were watching him, he disappeared on pit road. And on my end, it looks like he has been retired from the race. So Dan Withers is now out, that which leaves 8 drivers left here in the Motegi 190 with Elevated Motorsports 1, 2, 3, 5. Right now, Justin Diltz first, Chapman in second, Alan Coral there in third, Ty Bostic in fourth, Mark Sikosi in the 5th position, Wiggins in 6th, Miller in 7th, and rounding out your field, Brandon Berrier there on fresher tires in 8th.
It certainly is a tight battle up at the front. We're at lap 21 with our first stage coming in 9 laps.
Yeah, we're about to see what this 19 can do. See if he can hold off his teammates, because that 7 and that number 9 are on a mission. To go by him. Even if they are teammates, still, stage points are stage points. Stage win is a stage win. So we'll see what happens now between these 3 teammates.
I think Brandon Berrier is lapped down based on him taking a opportunity for some fresh rubber there in the pits. But for the most part, the rest of the competitors, all 7 of them, are on the lead lap.
Yes, they are, and Miller looks like he's going to be maybe the first victim to go a lap down. So Brandon Berrier, you may be a little bit out of luck here, depending on how fast this field tech catches that 18 car. He may be stuck a lap down until the next stage, but we will see, as the number 19 is still leading his teammates around Motegi. You almost see three different lines there, Rick. You see the 19 going a little bit high, the 7 kind of in the middle, and the number 9. Interesting lines being run by these three drivers right now, which you would expect them to have very similar setups, and as of it looks right now, very similar. But as we go on board with Ryan Chapman, we will see exactly what he sees in his line coming out of turn 2.
Yep, on 23-lap old tires, he gingerly made it out of turns 1 and 2. Definitely very conservative corner entry, and you can see it push.
Yeah, he was a little bit aggressive with that turn 3 entry right there. He definitely dove it to the bottom, seeing if it could stick. And don't look too far back, but Ty Bostic has now closed the gap on these guys. So Ty Bostic is making a run. Maybe he'll be able to pass these guys. Who knows? Maybe he's been holding back. Maybe he's that long run guy that I was talking about earlier in the race. But we will see how this shapes out, as the lead has kind of stabilized between a half second between first and second and third.
Bostic showing just about just under 2 seconds back, but he's beginning to make his push, and you can see him on the display.
And looking at this now, it looks like the 19 really sets the car up nice for corner exits. That's where he seems to be the best, and he doesn't try to overdrive, and as soon as I said that, he goes really high in the corner. He doesn't overdrive the corner, but on that time, he definitely did overdrive it, which is going to put the battle between him and Chapman just a couple car lengths away. So we will see what happens here. 19 drops to the bottom. 7's kind of right there, a little bit of a higher line behind, not trying to follow exactly in his tire tracks. And we'll see who has the run off the corner. It may be that number 7 car.
With 4 laps to go.
Yeah, that 19 is definitely pushing really hard in the middle of 3-4 right now, which may open the door for the 7 to pass by. You can see the number 19 get really loose, and that number 7 is on the back bumper of his teammate there. So he may say, you know what, teammate, I'm gonna let you win this one. Maybe I'm just gonna ride here and let's finish 1, 2, 3, 4. But as we were saying that, Rick, entered the picture is Ty Bostic. Ty Bostic has entered the picture. He has cut the lead down to just 1.2 seconds now on the back bumper of the number 9 machine. So that long run speed is definitely playing a factor in how this stage may end, because the 22 can carry a lot of speed in the middle of the corner, and you can see it right there. He's going to try to make a pass on the number 9 machine.
Well, I think these leaders are also dealing with a lapped car.
Lap car goes high. And Ty Bostic goes down below. Let's see if Ty can make the pass. He's side by side with number 9 of Alan Kroll there coming out of the corner. And they're still battling with just 2 laps to go in stage 1.
That's our biggest battle right now on the track.
And Ty just passes him with ease. It looks like Ty can really roll the entry to the center and center off very, very well, which could be playing a role into his long run speed. That is the driver I'm going to pay attention to for the rest of this race, because he wasn't just, a few seconds back. I mean, he was pretty far back at the start of this race, and he's able to make his way up to 3rd, creeping up on 2nd and 1st right now with only about a lap and a half until the end of stage 1.
Ty Bostic now moves up to 3rd. Justin Diltz is our leader with Ryan Chapman in 2nd. Ty Bostic in 3rd. Alan Crowell in 4th. Mark Sarkozy in 5th. Brian Wiggins is in 6th. That's our drivers on the lead lap. And 1 lap down, you've got James K. Miller, Brandon Berrier.
The pits have closed, so at the end of this lap, we will figure out who will be the Stage 1 winner tonight in the Motegi 190. Looks like Justin Diltz is going to get a solid run off the corner, but his teammates right on his bumper. We will see exactly what the 17 can do going into turn 3. Obviously, way too early to dive bomb or do anything crazy like that. But you may see the 7 try to pressure the 19 a little bit. Maybe get to his bumper and maybe move him out of the way. But as we see, they are going to be battling off the corner. 19 and 7 coming to the line. 7 tried to go low, and it looks like the 19 will win stage 1. Once the caution flag flies in, there she is. Your stage 1 winner of tonight's Motegi 190 goes to the number 19 Camaro of Justin Diltz. Nice run by him. Nice run by Chapman there, but Bostic, what a way to separate the teammates. He was able to creep back up on the number 7 and number 19. So look forward to see him having a strong run here tonight in Japan.
Well, we'll see this entire field make their way onto pit road. They have certainly used up those tires after 32 laps around this Motegi Speedway. We're still focusing on our lead car as they work their way back up to find that pace car, and they find it coming out of turn 2. So I'm expecting to see pretty much everybody, unless Brandon Berry decides to stay out. James K. Miller should get his lap back. So
yeah, we'll see what happens here once everybody makes their way down good old pit road. And as you said, Rick, here comes the field led by 19 of Justin Diltz. Everybody else has made their way down pit road. The only drivers that haven't are, I believe, the 18 of Miller. And I also believe that the 58 of Barrier did not come down pit road.
Well, they're a lap down, so we would expect that. They should be...
Exactly. Smooth pit stops for everybody. Everybody's in their stall. Looks like the 2 missed his pit stall. Mark Sarkozy has missed his pit stall, Rick.
That'll hurt.
Well, there's only 8 cars, so don't know if it's going to hurt too much. We will see, though. We will see exactly what happens once he comes back around.
So pretty much good pit stops for those leaders, all in the 15, high 14s, low 15s on pit road. The winner off the best pit stop was Ty Bostic with a 14.62.
Yeah, nice pit stop out of that camp. He is going to be a difficult driver to beat tonight due to how I think his long run speed's going to go. But as we're looking on board, that number 2 should be coming down pit road because it looks like he missed his pit stall. So as we see 58 coming down, 58 is staying out. Interesting move. I guess he would not get his lap back, Rick, because he wasn't the lucky dog is what I would be guessing. So he should get the wave around here with should be coming to about 2 to go this time by, since the number 2 went down pit road. So, yeah, Brandon Barrier is going to be looking forward to getting his lap back. But as we're looking on board now, we have the number 2 and the number 18 on pit road. Unfortunate there for the number 2 because he was riding up there in 5th, and he's going to drop back to 7th. I mean, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Well, with a small field like it is, yeah, it's not going to hurt too badly. Had this been 20, 30 cars, a more costly mistake.
Yeah, you'd be kind of stuck in the back. But as we're looking now, we are 34 laps into this 124-lap event, and we are going to be going green, I believe, next time by, because everybody's making their way off pit road. 58 of Brandon Barrier will get that wave around there, and we will be back to green flag racing to lap 60. That is the end of stage 2 in this Grand National Series, racing the Speed Demon NSRL series here, sponsored by Speed Demon Setups Elevated Outdoors, York Realty, one of the newest sponsors on board this wonderful league, affordable SEO and marketing, and of course, Butt Kicker. So pace car lights should be going off this time by Rick, and we should be getting some green flag racing. So there's the lights on the pace car. Brandon Barrier is not going to go by, and you are going to see this field stack back up with only 6 drivers, it looks like. 6 drivers and a couple that have to make their way back around.
Yep. Well, they should make the round pretty quick, and we'll get back to green flag racing.
And while these guys are making their way around turn 2 right now, I'd like to give everybody, if you're watching on YouTube or maybe watching on any of our other channels, please like and subscribe to our broadcast network, the IWM Broadcast Network. So if you're watching live now, just hit that subscribe and that little bell button so you don't miss any races that we are broadcasting here, especially in this NSRL league. And don't get too discouraged by the small field. This is some great racing with great drivers here in this league, and don't miss any other leagues that we will broadcast throughout the course of this year. Rick, it looks like they are about to get the green flag, I'd say.
I think they are about to go back to green flag racing. Pace car is off. And we are green.
In the most enthusiastic way I can say this, boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing with 6 cars. So, let's get back to racing here, guys. So we have Ty Bostic there on the bottom lane trying to separate these elevated motorsports drivers. He's going to try to slide up in front of the number 9 of Alan Crowell, and he in fact does. And the field is basically exactly how they were when they came down pit road the first time, with Dilts in first, Chapman in second, Ty Bostic in third, Alan Crowell in fourth.
Whoa, loose.
There goes the 22. 22 sideways, he saves it. He, I don't think, expected that number 9 to check up as much as he did. My bad, number 7. The 7 checked up quite a bit going to that corner, and I just don't think Ty Bostic realized that he was going to check up that much. So Ty Bostic now shuffled back to the rear in P7, which moves Mark Sikosi. Yeah, see right there, just big checkup out of the number 7 camp, which I think he had a major checkup due to the number 19 car.
I'm going to pause it, see if we go on board with the 22. Oh, yeah, he came right up on top of that 7. Counter steered his way.
Yeah, good job saving that car, but now that puts him all in P7 right now. So, unfortunate for that car because he was one of the fastest on the long run, but, it's only lap 38. So don't need to worry about anything else. Just get to the end of the stage, get some fresh tires, and make your way back up. He'll be able to do it. But right now, that puts Justin Dilts in first, Ryan Chapman in second, Wiggins in third, Coral in fourth, Sikosi in fifth, Brandon Barrier now in seventh as Ty Bostic goes around him. So Ty Bostic is going to make his way back up, but we have a little bit of a split between these elevated motorsports drivers there, with Wiggins, a new face in this league, separating the 2 teammates in front and the 2 teammates in back.
We are on lap 39 of a scheduled 124 laps, 86 laps to go here in Japan at the Motegi Twin Rings. I'm your host, Rick Souza, and my co-host, John Drugis, is here from the IWM Broadcast Network. We appreciate you listening in and watching, and we'll try to keep you up to date on this NSRL Grand National Series event sponsored by Speed Demon.
And shout out to Evan Amick. He said, good evening. Sorry he missed. He's on the beach. Well, that sounds good about now. I think a beach would be very nice because it's hot as you know what here in the mid-state of Tennessee. And I know it's hot where you are in North Carolina, Rick. So some water sounds really nice these days.
Yeah, we're definitely in that summer pattern. So yeah, we'll just kind of tough it out through to August and hope for a nice fall. So, but
Yes, sir.
but here we are here tonight covering this event with the NSRL League and their Grand National drivers here in Japan at the Motegi. Justin Diltz is your leader in the 19, Ryan Chapman in second, Alan Crowell in third, Brian Wiggins in fourth, Mark Sarkozy in fifth, and Ty Bostic is in sixth. Brandon Barrier finishes out those on the lead lap. He is in seventh.
And don't look too far back, Rick, but Crowell did just pass Wiggins, and on the move is Mark Sarkozy. So those 4 elevated motorsports drivers are trying to go 1, 2, 3, 4 here in stage 2 with about 17 laps to go, 18 laps to go in this stage, and they are 100% 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. So
Mark Sarkozy made
much
that nice pass on the 1.
Absolutely. So just how the point standings are right now, Rick, you have elevated motors sweeping this race. Which not too unexpected just because of how dominant they've been. Let's talk about that for a second. It seems like every week they have at least 2 of their cars in the top 2. I mean, they've done a very nice job of staying consistent and staying up front and running together as a team.
Absolutely. They've certainly, you can tell there's some collaboration going on, especially in these more challenging tracks we've had over the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely, especially this track right here, the Twin Ring. It's not a typical track. I've never raced on this track before in iRacing, so I have no idea how it's run. But if I were to run this track, I'd try to run this almost like a Milwaukee Mile, mixed with a little bit of Darlington. As we're now looking on back, you may see that 22 go into the 5th position after dropping back on that start. Nope, 1 closes the door. Yeah, Rick, it's a very interesting track. It almost runs as almost like a Phoenix as well, in turn 1 and 2. So very interesting track here with long straightaways on the front and the back stretch as well. So a lot of different elements that you typically don't see in a NASCAR circuit, but you will see overseas. So yeah, looking on back,
I was just going to say it's unusual. The 22 just kissed the wall a bit on that on his right side, but this track is just it's unusual in that it's a flat track. I think you earlier had mentioned Milwaukee. I think it definitely sniffs a bit like Milwaukee does, whereas as far as those flat turns, again, you almost could say a bit like as you did with Phoenix. So, just unusual, and setting up your car for this is kind of a challenge because you've got
22's loose.
He saved
22's trying to stay on that thing. He's battling a loose car right now.
Well, I think if you're coming out, especially through those turns, if you got your foot in the gas all the way through, the ability to unfortunately rotate that rear end of that car out from under you is really easy to do.
It is, for sure. And thinking about the NASCAR circuit, Rick, this almost reminds me of Pocono a little bit. With these long sweeping corners, especially turn 1 and turn 3 of Pocono. Not so much turn 2. Turn 2's basically modeled after a turn at Indianapolis, but turn 1 and turn 3, I could see where this track looks very similar to how Pocono can be run. Obviously it's not as long of a turn in Pocono or in turn 1 and turn 2 of Pocono, where here it's obviously an oval, but it still reminds me of Pocono just a little bit and how you're able to run the track. It really reminds me of it, especially corner entry. Maybe a little bit steeper than Pocono. Pocono maybe a little bit flatter of a track. But these drivers are putting on a good show tonight, handling their cars very well. And right now, the fastest guy on the track that last time by was Mark Sarkozy there. It was Mark Sarkozy on lap 47 in the 4th position. So we will see exactly what happens. But that 19 car, Rick, much better stage 2 this time. He is checked out on his teammate.
He certainly has. That gap right now is nearly 2 seconds over the second place car of Chapman.
And just to give you a little bit more rundown of the field, the 22 did in fact get by the 1 car of Wiggins. So move Bostic up to P5. He is going to be probably sitting right there. 1 car's loose on the front stretch.
Good recovery for Brian Wiggins coming off that corner. It seems to have bitten a few drivers tonight.
Yes, it has, and that goes right into my first key of the race, Rick. Watch corner exit. You got to watch corner exit because you may get a little, and look at there, again, that 1 car getting a little uneasy coming out of the corners. On these long runs, Rick, I would not expect, or I would not doubt to see any of these drivers lose it just because of the wear on that right rear tire. It looks like they're just tearing up the right rear trying to get through these corners, especially on exit. So we'll see exactly what happens here with the one he's trying to go by, that lap down car of Miller. So we will see exactly what happens. I believe Miller's a lap down.
He is. Yeah, he is a lap down.
Yep, okay. I was like, okay, I don't see anybody changing on the board. But yeah, so we'll see what happens here. But yeah, corner exit was my number 1 key. It's gonna be a major factor here, especially on stage 3. As you looking, wow, that 18 really drifted up into the wall, tagged the wall right there. Oh, he's loose again. Don't hit the barrier. Oh, wow. Well, 18 did a little somersault barrel roll and
no caution.
Making his way down pit road. So if you're watching this on any of our channels right now, please rate that acrobatic move of the 18 1 out of 10. I want to hear your thoughts because that was a very interesting move, and his race is more than likely over, Rick. That thing is all torn up.
Yeah, we can go back and let's catch that on the replay since we're here. Let's go ahead back and bring that back.
So he's up high, gets a little loose, and just smacks the barrier, the tires there. We've seen that in other leagues. We're kind of familiar with that a little bit.
We definitely have seen that before.
We have, but that was I've never seen a car react that way, Rick. I've never seen a car basically like just barrel roll to the left,
right,
and then land on all fours. Let's see what's on board. I mean, this is gonna be a heck of an on board. Just gets loose, can't control it, nowhere to go.
Oh well.
He thinks he's Maverick or something there in Top Gun, trying to do some barrel rolls with an Xfinity car. Can't really do that. But unfortunate there for the number 18 machine in that Exxon Camaro. I hate to see that, but Rick, as we were watching amazing acrobatic work by that number 18 car, we have a battle right now, and that number 7 is going low on the number 19 going into turn 1, and he backs out a little bit. So just as last time, the 7 is pressuring the number 19 again.
Well, we are 6 laps away from another stage break, so this would be the time to do it.
Yes, it would. Yes, it in fact would. So, folks, you are now looking at the number 19. He has led every single lap here with his teammate Ryan Chapman and Alan Kroll there in third, and another teammate in fourth. And they had been battling all race long between those 3 drivers. You saw Ty Bostic shake up the battle a little bit. He is all the way back in 5th, trying to make his way back up. But mainly the battle has been from those 3-4 drivers right there, with Dilch, Chapman, Kroll, and Sikosi, 1 through 4. So looking at it right now, with about 5 laps to go in stage 2, Justin Diltz is making his way possibly to another stage win here tonight, making that stage 1 and 2 victorious for the number 13 camp.
70 laps to go.
Number 19 camp, rather. Yep.
70 laps here to go at Motegi. And it looks like another charge by Chapman to try and close that gap and take that lead away from Diltz.
7 looks to be very strong in 3 and 4, where the 19 is not. And we saw that last run, and that's what I really want to pay attention to, especially going on the long run in stage 3. About 20 to 25 laps is where you see that 7 car really start to get on And, same thing with the number 2. The number 2 of Mark Sikosi is also on a little bit of a similar strategy. But you can see right there, the 7 is just able to carry more speed through the corner, and especially on exit, makes his way almost to the bumper of that number 19 machine. With 2 laps to go here, Rick, if I was Ryan Chapman there, I'd try to get myself a stage win.
Absolutely. He is staying right on the 19's bumper to try and close that gap.
He is, and I think Ryan Chapman may be able to do it this time because he is only a 10th off. Whoa! Oh! 19 checks up big time, which makes the 7 wash up into the wall, Rick. 7 is now into the wall and dropped fast. 7 has slammed the outside wall.
Well, that's a shame.
So unfortunate there.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. We got 2 laps to go, and we'll try to go back and see if we can pick up what happened there.
Yeah, let's. I'm kind of surprised that his car reacted that way. I want to go back and take a look at the replay because it looked like he was going to make the pass nice and clean, but didn't really happen there, Rick.
No, and I don't know what caused the checkup by the 19, but certainly it affected the 7 significantly.
Yes, it did. And Rick, I've been just looking at some distances now between these leaders. Ty Bostic has closed the gap from about 7 seconds 3 laps ago down to 6 seconds. And this is what we saw last run. He is able to make long run speed work for him. So I'm looking for him to have, if he doesn't have another unfortunate event like he had in stage 2, he may be one of the factors here to challenge this number 19 machine here for the win. But as it stands right now, they are approaching lap 60. So at the end of this lap, you will have your stage 2 winner. Right now you have Justin Diltz leading Alan Crowe there by half a second. Chapman there in 3rd. Sikosi in 4th. And rounding out your top 5 is Ty Bostic.
We are on the backstretch now. Justin Diltz continues to lead significantly, and he will be your stage 2 winner.
Rounding out turn 4 in the still number 19 Camaro, Justin Diltz is going to be your winner of stage 2 here tonight in the Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series Motegi 190. Say that 3 times faster.
All right. Justin Diltz is your winner of the stage, followed by Alan Crowell in 2nd, Ryan Chapman in 3rd, Mark Sarkozy in 4th, Ty Bostic in 5th, Brian Wiggins in 6th. James Miller is a lap or so down.
Yep, and looking at these last lap times, Rick, the fastest car on the track, in fact, was the 22 car. He was fastest by about half a tenth, so about 0.05 of a second. But still, he was the fastest driver on the track, and I'm excited to see how he phases in stage 3. And also, do you think there's a little bit of a grudge, or a little bit of animosity between that number 19 and number 7? Because that, was a very interesting move by the 7 car. I don't know if he got out of shape. I don't know if he didn't expect the 19 to check up as much as he did. But that 7 car really just kind of shot to the outside wall.
Well, while they take their pit stop, let's see if we can try to get back to that that incident. Let me see if I can locate that.
I'm very curious because it's very,
it just happened. So let's go back and let's go on board with Ryan Chapman. Let's back it up a bit here. Second, let's bring up some dashboard information. All right, let's go ahead and see what we see. We'll run it first at race speed, and then we'll see if there's something else. Let's. Oh, big checkup.
It looked like the 19. I mean, it looked like he checked up really early into that corner. I don't think that number 7 was expecting that 19 to check up when he did, which is why it shot him up the track. I mean, that 19 is, I mean, he's checking up at the corner, but it looks a little early to me, Rick. I don't know if that's just me, but it looked a little bit of an early braking out of the number 19 car.
Just seemed a little bit strange. That's odd. That's just an odd event.
Yeah, it is odd, and what we'll pay attention to is where that braking zone was, or where that braking zone is, rather, this next time around when these drivers are, or when they get the green flag next. So, very curious. But don't look too far back now, Rick. You have the number 2 up to P2. Right now, that number 9, or number 7 rather, of Ryan Chapman. Wow. Number 7 of Ryan Chapman is on pit road fixing his damage. So hopefully that number 7 can get back on it. He is trying to get some damage fixed.
He's back out.
He's around turn 3, yeah.
So interesting, just for your information, that pit stop for Mark Sarkozy was a 14.87, which was the fastest pit stop out of these guys. So that probably explains a bit as to his ability to jump up a position or two as he got off pit road.
Yes, it is. And Rick, I'm going to add a 4th key to the race. I think you're going to have to make a green flag stop here in stage 3. I don't think they can make it 60 laps. If they can, it's going to be very, very, very close. So I'm looking for these drivers to possibly have to make a green flag pit stop. Maybe, I don't know, maybe split the stage, maybe come in with maybe 5 to go, maybe 10 to go. We'll see, but they are going to be very close on gas for sure. Coming to, should be 1 to green with exactly 59 laps to go at the line. So it's going to be our longest stage of the race. It's going to be our longest green flag run that we have had. So we'll see exactly how this fares up. And right now on the front row in P2, you have Mark Sarkozy, who has been right there with his teammates this entire race. Justin Diltz obviously there in P1. Alan Kroll there in the bottom row. Wiggins there in the top line, and then don't look too far back, but that 22 car, we know he is fast on a long run. He is on the inside line with, I believe, that is Brandon Barrier. Not Brandon Barrier, that looks very similar. That is Ryan Chapman there up on the top line in P6. So you have 6 drivers on the track right now, racing for position between 4 elevated motorsports guys, Southern motorsports driver, I believe, and a free agent, if you want to call that, there with Wiggins there, trying to make his name in this NSRO Grand National Series.
We do have the 18 on pit road. That's James K. Miller. He is on pit road, but he is a few laps down. So we're about to go back to green and start our 3rd and final stage. This is lap 65 of a scheduled 124 laps.
And here we go. We are about to be green flag racing again in the Motegi 190, and we are off. Green flag racing stage 3 here tonight at Motegi in Japan. And that number 2 car had the jump on the 19. What a run by the number 2 car. He's going to have position, and Rick, he may take the lead.
He just may. They are side by side battling here at the restart.
Wow. I stand corrected. 19 was able to charge on the inside and take that lead.
Great move by Justin Diltz.
Oh, 19 drifts up all the way. He's in the wall. 19 is in the wall. We have a car wrecking.
Oh!
Oh, one's in the wall. We have a caution. No caution. No caution. No caution. Now we have our caution. One car has absolutely demolished the outside wall and his front end. Let's go back and take a look at that, Rick, because that was behind the very tight car of the 19.
Should we stay in the cockpit here as we make our first pick? Oh.
I can tell you what happened there, Rick.
Yeah,
I think everybody saw it too.
Yep.
Let's go. A little loose.
Yeah, let's go back and rewind that.
But also, I want to take a look at the front end of that 7 car. I think the 7 may have helped him around. Looking at some of the damage on that number 7, we will see. He may have gotten a little assistance.
We shall see. Here we go. We'll show it at speed. Oh, he did get tagged, but I think at that point he had already kind of lost it a bit.
Yeah, he was already heading for the wall. He may not have hit the wall as hard, but he was already mid-drift, already overcorrected his number 1 machine there, and definitely was heading towards the inside wall, or outside wall rather. You can see him overcorrected right there. I mean, he may have been able to save it a little bit and may not have been as hard as an impact, but I mean, unfortunate there for the 1 as his hood goes away and reappears and disappears. Unfortunate there for that 1 machine. He was trying to make it a strong run here tonight as we have some takers down pit road, Rick. We have the 19 of Justin Diltz, and we also have the number 7 of Ryan Chapman. I believe both of those drivers are going to come down pit road, top off on some fuel, and fix some damage, because both of those cars were in that last incident. 19 barely scraped the wall, but 7 tagged the number 1 machine. Yep,
there's some definite damage on the right side of both, and certainly on the front end of the 7 with its contact with the 1 car, Brian Wiggins. They have 7 sets of tires here for this race. Probably a good time to get that damage fixed and grab a fresh set of rubber.
Absolutely. As you see, the 19 is off. The first time that the 19 is not going to lead a lap under green flag conditions here tonight.
That will now fall to Mark Sarkozy. So Ryan Chapman is making his way off of pit road to get back up to the leaders. And now we're seeing the number 2 of Mark Sarkozy go down pit road. Taking this opportunity for topping off for fuel. I think that is a strategy, I'm guessing. What do you think?
I think it is a little bit of a strategy play here, and I like it. I mean, I have many green flag laps, but still, I think it's important to get that fuel to make it to the end, because you don't want to be saving. You don't want to be that guy that has to save his stuff knowing he can go a little bit further because he saved his tires, and you run out of gas. So I agree with the call, and we'll see how it plays out for those drivers. But as we have it right now, we have another new leader, the number 9 of Alan Corral there. He's been creeping around there in 3rd place all race long, but don't look too far back, Rick. In the number 2 spot, in the number 22 car, is my pick for this race, Ty Bostic. Ty Bostic has amazing long-run speed, and he has made his way all the way up to 2nd. I just think he needs his opportunity to get his 15 minutes of fame and out in front and try to check away from the field. I think all he needs is some clean air, because he's been battling dirty air all way strong. As you can see, the number 19 again dropped down. and take some fuel, I'm guessing. He just made a stop, so I'm guessing he's only going to take gas. So he is on a little bit of the same strategy there as that number 2 car, his teammate. So we will see how this plays out. I'm only assuming he's getting gas, Rick.
I'm assuming the same. Should be gas and go, but we'll see. Shouldn't be much room in that tank to add fuel to. They were just on pit road, not just a lap or two ago. That's it, just a splash and dash.
Splash and dash for the number 19, your leader of the majority of this race. And we are now approaching just about 50 to go here in tonight's Motegi 190 in the Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series, brought to you by Speed Demon Setups Elevated Outdoors, York Realty, Affordable SEO and Marketing, and Butt Kicker. Go check out some of those amazing companies if you're in need of any of their services. So it's going to be a great restart. I think you have 2 cars that have not seen clear track in front of them all race long, trying to maybe sneak a win here from either their teammate or if you're a tie, basically the rest of the field are Elevated Outdoors. So right now you have the number 9 on the bottom, 22 on the high side, 7 on the bottom, 2 on the outside, and then 19 on the back bumper of his teammate 7. 9 is the control car, and 9 is off. Green flag racing, and we are green again here at Motegi. Don't look too far back, but that 7 car is looking to the bottom side of the 22, as the 9 car is your leader checking out. And they're battling side by side, going through turn 1, turn 2. 22 is still there. 2 is going to give them a heck of a draft coming off the corner.
There was 22. Definitely a coordinated effort with that Elevated Outdoors crew on that restart for certain.
Oh, 100%. Let's see if Ty Bostic can ruin the party of these Elevated Outdoor guys, as the number 2 machine thought he was going to try to take it 3 wide, but 22 is now clear of that number 7, moves his way back into P2, and now he is on the hunt for the Kroll machine of number 9 there in P1. So right now, as your running orders has it, you have Alan Kroll there in first, Ty Bostic in second, Mark Sikosi right on this bumper in third, Ryan Chapman in fourth, and Justin Dilson in fifth, with Wiggins rounding out your top 6. And to state all the other drivers that have made it in this race, Miller is in 7th, Farrier in 8th, and Dan Withers, who retired very early in this race, he is in the 9th position.
So that 7 car seems to be able to make speed. His lap times are nearly the same as everybody else that's out there, which is impressive with the amount of front-end damage he has on that vehicle.
Yes, it is. And, if I were him, I would just run his race. He knows he has a fast car. He may have a little bit of damage, but he is still able to keep up with these guys. And if I'm the 22 machine, I would not overdrive my car. I know I have a solid long-run machine. No need to force it too early and tear up my tires. Let's just get to that point in the race in about 17 laps, so about lap 90. That's when I expect that 22 to start making his way to the back bumper of the number 9.
Well, right now that number 22 is just about half a second behind our leader of Kroll. Thank you for joining us. We are at lap 75 of 124 here at Motegi in Japan with the NSRL Grand National Series sponsored by Speed Demon. Glad you could join us on the IWM Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Rick Souza, along with John DeRudris, and we're here bringing you this event here with the Speed Demon NSRL Series.
And Rick, it looks like, as you were saying, that we had a pass for P2, a car on the wall, 19. Justin Dilt has smacked the outside wall coming out of turn 2.
Heck of a change for Justin Diltz. He was our leader for many laps through the first 2 stages. So Mark Sarkozy has now taken over second place.
Yes,
followed
he has.
by Ty Bostic. and Ryan Chapman. Alan Crowell continues to be your leader.
Unfortunate there for the number 19 machine. I mean, he was the car race, and unfortunate to see him just hit that wall. I mean, it's hard to see. He is obviously has a lot of damage to that car. He's nowhere close to what these leaders are running right now. But right now, these three elevated motorsports drivers of Sikosi, of Chapman, of Kroll there, they are running very similar lap times. Same thing with Bostic. So Chapman right now doing well in fourth, and Diltz is just kind of watching this race just get away from him. He was the leader for the majority of it, stage 1 and stage 2 winner, and now he finds his way in fifth. So unfortunate there.
We can take a peek at that right side damage as he makes our way around. Yep, there is a significant damage on that right side. Not only the scrape from the safer barrier, but a little bit of pushed in sheet metal.
Yeah, it is, and you know these cars are tough, but they can take a beating. And sometimes if you beat a little, if you hit it a little too hard, your speed will definitely be affected, and that may be what you're seeing out of the 19 camp. So he's hoping for a caution right now to get some of that fixed. But right now, Alan Kroll is still your leader, with Sikosi checking on his doorstep about 8/10 back. Bostic is still holding on to P3. His car is a very solid long car, so expect to see that lead start to creep in a little bit as time goes on. And Ryan Chapman there on his back bumper.
So there is a bit of a change in pit strategy here. You've got Alan Crowell came in at 62 along with Ty Bostic, but everybody else came in at lap 69 or 70 with the rest of those elevated outdoor guys. So it could be very interesting.
It could be very interesting, especially with that caution. How much fuel were you actually saving under that caution? Is it going to be enough? Maybe those two drivers that came earlier in the run, maybe they are able to save enough gas to go to the end. But right now, if I was those two drivers that pit on lap 69 or 70, I know I have enough fuel to make it to the end. So I would push as hard as I could just to get to the front. As of right now, you may have a pass for P3, Rick. That number 7 machine is on the back bumper of the 22. 22 is definitely a little loose. But as we've seen, his car definitely catches on a little bit later in the run. But right now, number 9 is still your leader here tonight in the Motegi 190.
Yeah, that last lap by Ty Bostic was nearly a 38-second lap. Ryan Chapman behind him, his last lap was about 0.2 faster, and pretty much in line with the leaders. So I think Ty Bostic is definitely battling something with that car.
It may just be his setup, Rick. I'm looking now. I mean, he's been able to keep the gap somewhat consistent. But, I mean, if he could force that 7 car to overdrive it, he may be setting himself up for a nice comeback here. I think his car, prediction here, I think his car is going to come alive here in about 10 laps. So I'm looking at lap 90 to lap 93. That's when you saw him start coming to the front last time. So I'm going to make a check right here. Lap 84, 2.47 seconds back. So we'll check back here in about 6 laps with that distance between those two drivers.
Yeah. So I'm just from my experience, I'm sure yours, when you got a custom setup and you have a unique track like this where corners 1 and 2 are dramatically different than corners 3 and 4, you're setting up your car for somewhat of a happy medium to get around this track, but you've got to hit your marks every time to maintain that speed. And over time, a little bit of driver fatigue hits you, and you're kind of buried in the race. You may miss your marks, and when you do, It's going to affect your tires on the run and your overall lap speed.
Oh, it definitely will, and that's, you maybe, but it's definitely going to play a factor because you can't set your car up for both corners. It's not a Charlotte, it's not a Texas, it's not one of those tracks like a Martinsville where you set your car up for the entire track. You have to pretty much balance it as best as you can, but you're going to try to favor one corner or the other. So that's why you're able to see some drivers better in turn 1 and 2 versus turn 3 and 4 and vice versa. So right now, I would definitely agree the fatigue may be setting in for some of these drivers. They've been out here for a little over an hour now, hour and a half. So we're going to be facing that fatigue as the race goes on. And right now, looking at it, Corral's been the most consistent. He's been third throughout the entire race, with the unfortunate events of his teammate. And same thing there with Chapman. He finds himself leading this race. So he has been very consistent, and that's also what I want to look for. I'm looking for consistent. He is the only driver that last time by to run in the 37s. Every other driver is running in the 38s. So look to see if that number 9 car can do what we think he can do and maybe pull off a win here in the NSRL series. But Rick, you were spot on with that for sure. Fatigue definitely plays a major role, and hitting your marks is essential.
Well, you're watching Alan Crowell now leading with 37 laps to go here at Motegi. He has been extremely consistent through the early stages and has come out to lead this lap significantly, nearly definitely over 2-second lead over second place of Mark Sarkozy. We can ride on board with Alan and watch as he negotiates the lap.
So he is about to hit the start-finish line here at the Twin Ring, and you can see him getting high RPMs, and he's going to back it down big time going into turn 1. Nice gradual drop to the center of the corner of the apex. Going to slide it really nice off the corner. Nice and easy, doing a great job not overdriving the car. And you can tell he is not overdriving just the way that he exited that corner. He had a lot more in that car than he is using up. So look at him doing the same thing there. Nice through the corner, not sliding it up against the wall. He has a lot of car left in that number 9 machine.
Very, very consistent. So we saw some folks trying to shift coming through turns 3 and 4, but no, that was fairly consistent speed with the number 9 car of Alan Crowell.
And Rick, let's go back, look at the number 2 and the number 22. That is the battle for P2. Also, it looks like Ryan Chapman has hit the wall again. A lot of things happened in that last time by, but Ryan Chapman did smack the wall. And that right side is definitely hurting now. But don't look too far back, Rick. That number 22, here it comes. I was thinking about lap 90. He was going to start trying to make his presence known with these elevated motorsports drivers. And he is just able to carry his corner speed much better than any car on the track. He rolls it really nice into the center, able to hold it all the way through the apex, and on corner exit, he doesn't have to force it off. And you can just see right here, see how well he's able just to rotate. His car is definitely built for the long run, as he may complete that. Wow.
Yeah,
what a move.
Little loose at the very end there, but that was, he had his foot in the gas getting through that turn.
So up to P2, Ty Bostic making his way to the front. Only one more car to beat tonight, and that is the elevated motorsports driver of Alan Coral there. Now I'm keeping track of the distance here, and Rick, it's not really favoring on the side of Mr. Bostic, because I want to tell you what it is here in about 2 laps. Yeah. But let's say it is not going in the right direction overall. He's going up in the right direction on the charts, wrong direction in relation to his distance with the leader.
Whoa, the number 7 was extremely loose. He dirt tracked it out of 4 behind his P2 and P3 here. He's got his hands full. We do have a lot of laps on these tires. These guys last stopped for Ty Bostic on lap 62. So you've got 31 laps of Motegi on these tires. Brian Chapman stopped at lap 68, so still, this is where in the last 2 stages they were thinking, my stage is almost done, time for fresh rubber, but not now.
Definitely not now, as I will tell you, Rick, at the end of this lap, how Mr. Bostic has been doing when it comes to the distance between him and that leader. So all I got to say is, unless he has a great lap, number 94, he is not moving in the right direction. But we will see. We will see.
He is in P2, so he is hoping for some type of error on the part of Alan Crowell, who has frankly been a machine going around this track.
All right, so my 10-lap analysis of this number 22 machine. At lap 84, he was 2.4 seconds back. At lap 88, he was 3.82 seconds back. At lap 92, he was 4.37 seconds back. And coming to the line on lap 94, he had lost almost 2 seconds on the leader at 4.22 seconds. So right now he is right at 4.3 seconds. So kind of stabilizing here, going up to 4.3 with just about 28 laps to go in the Motegi 190. So Rick,
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens, but for my prediction to come true, that 22 needs to get that long run speed going, which was my third key of this race. You have to have long run speed, and it looks like that number 9 car, engine number 9, he has the long run speed in this one.
So, in fact, that number 9 car in that last lap was a 38.35, and Ty Bostic's time was a 38.45. Now, he has worked his way around the number 2 of Sarkozy, and certainly that was probably, frankly, a big factor. But I think we're seeing some green flag pit stops happening. I think Sarkozy is now on pit road.
Yes, he is on pit road, and this is very interesting because he was one of those drivers that came in on 69 to lap 70. So you may see Sarkozy trying to short pit these guys and force possibly the rest of the field to come down, because once that first car comes down, you don't want to be out there for too much longer because tire wear is a factor here in tonight's race. So don't miss out on the opportunity. But right now, Rick, it looks like the 2 is making his way off of pit road. He will be 1 lap down, but he will have enough gas to the end, and he will have fresh tires with 27 laps to go.
So we'll see if others take his example and decide to duplicate it, or if they're good to go around. If I'm Alan Crowell and there's my last lap times are as good, if not better, than everybody else. I don't know. We'll see.
We shall see. We shall see what happens, because he will definitely have the faster car out of all those drivers because he'll have fresh rubber. So we'll see what his lap times are this next time by around. But looking back at those lap times, you have a 38.7 by Kroll, a 39.0 by Bostic, a 39.7 by Chapman and by Diltz. So very slow lap times making their way on the board because of that worn tire issue for all those drivers up in the front. So expect Mark Sarkozy to be in the 37s.
Well, you got to figure with Alan Crowell last pitting on lap 62. That's a lot of laps on these tires.
Yes, it is. So he's got. I'm thinking they got to come down unless that was a stop by the number 2. I'm thinking they're going to have to come down at some point. And, just thinking about this, I've been in this situation before where I stayed out a little too long, and the net gain that I had on the driver that pit before me was completely negated due to me being on worn tires, them being on fresh tires. So it's a very fine line and a very interesting game you play between short pitting and staying out, because if you stay out way too long, that gap will surely decrease between you and the guy with fresh tires.
So, and to highlight that, Mark Sarkosi's last lap was a 37.43.
So a full second, almost a second and a half, even close to 2 seconds faster than some of these cars on the track. He is definitely going to be faster than that leader and everyone else because he has those fresh tires. So, I don't know if he's going to try to make it around. Maybe 9 will try to do a splash and go, but still, you're going to be on pit road. And this is the time where I think if you're those leaders, if you can't make it, you got to come down because Mark's putting himself in a great opportunity to win this race.
Well, he's got to get past the leaders and work his way back around. He is picking up approximately a second or so per lap.
And I'm thinking about this. If you're on pit road for about 14 seconds in the actual pit stall, it maybe takes you about 8 seconds to get down, let's say about 10, 15 seconds to get down and off. So you're looking at about 30 seconds there. It's going to be very, very close between this number 9 and the number 2.
Yeah.
But that gap is still closing between those drivers. So looking back this next time around, you have Alan Crowell running a 38.7, Bostic running a 39, Chapman running a 39.1, Diltz a 38.9, and Sakosi a 37.8. So still faster than that leader right now.
So the time lost on pit lane, calculating it from the point at which the car enters pit lane to the point at which he leaves pit lane and re-engages the racing surface, is about 55 seconds.
Wow, 55. Okay, I was way off on that. So that if you're running the fifth, let's say you average 15 seconds in the actual pit stall, that is 40 seconds down pit road. That is a crawl, a absolute crawl.
So Mark Sarkosi's last all-inclusive time on pit lane was 50.73, but still, it's a 50-second deficit, which explains the lap down situation. So
exactly,
there are only 4 cars currently on the lead lap.
Yep, you have Alan Crowell there in P1, Bostic in P2, Chapman in P3, and Diltz in P4. And just to give you an update on a 10-lap run, that 22 is now about 2.5 seconds back from where he was the last time that we talked about Mr. Bostic. So that long run speed is not in favor of the 22. But we are nearing the end of this race, Rick. 19 to go in the Motegi 190. That means we have 10% of the race to go. So we have made it 90% of the way through. We've had a couple cautions. We have barrel roll by the number 18 car of Miller and hitting some water barrels. And we've had some exciting racing up front between the Elevated Outdoors guys, or the Elevated Motorsports guys. So we'll see what happens here as we are now 18 to go in this race. No true battles on track. I mean, you could say the true battles between third and fourth between Chapman and Diltz, but they're still about 2.5 seconds back from each other. Sarkosi's 1 lap down. His lap times are getting better. He just ran a 37.6 that last time, where he was up in the 38s a couple laps ago, so he's running very consistent lap times. But we'll see. The strategy now is, do you have to pit? That is the biggest factor of where these guys will finish here tonight in the Motegi 190.
So Mark Sarkosi is right now right behind the leader, trying to earn his lap back the hard way.
And Rick, if that number 9 has to come down pit road, that number 2 will be P1 is my guess, because if the 9 comes down, the 15, or maybe the 22, the 7, and the 19 will all come down, I imagine. So we'll see how this plays out. But as of right now, that 2 is on rails because he is still running in the 37s, Rick. He has caught the leader. He is going to get his lap back. So
But then he's got 16 laps to try and get back to the front.
Yes, he does. And that number 9 is blocking the 2. You saw it right there going into turn 1. So that 2 definitely got a little upset. But here comes the 2 on the inside. 2 has the fresher tires. I would not try to block the number 2 car there, Mr. Pearl, because he's on much fresher tires. He about 30 lap fresher tires. So there he is. We will count this deficit. This is my new deficit counter. So 39.3. That's what I'm going to call it there at lap 110 with 15 to go. So let's see what he can do.
Well, Sarkozy is 38 seconds back from the leader with 15 laps to go. He legitimately needs over 2 seconds a lap to make up that deficit.
About 2.5. So let's keep the mark at 39.3. That's when I wrote it down. He's already down to 37.5, Rick. So he's already that's almost 3 seconds, right? 2 seconds. Just about 2.5 seconds he made up right there. 37.3, or about 2 seconds rather. So 2 seconds that last time by. So this may be your battle, depending on if that number 2 car can keep on narrowing down that lead of the number 9. But I don't know. He's really far back, Rick. I mean, you got to make up 36 seconds and 14 laps.
It's going to be a major challenge to try and pull it off without some help. He would certainly need some help from another car. Of course, there aren't that many cars left to help, so kind of is what it is.
Yep, so he's only gained about 3 seconds that last time by. It's not going to be enough. He needs to make up at least 2.5 a lap.
It was a good gamble, obviously counting on a little bit of help. But I don't know. What we're seeing here is some extremely accurate driving in the number 9 car. Alan Crowell has just been, he knows his line, he knows his way around, he's got his marks, and he is hitting it and hitting them consistently.
Yeah, he's cut it down to 34, 35. I don't think it's... got to make up more time than that. So he's made up about 4 seconds. Need to make up about 6 seconds. So he's still struggling there. But right now, yeah, Kroll is in nice spot to take home this win with 12 to go in the Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series here at Motegi in the Motegi 190. Brought to you by Speed Demon Setups, Elevated Outdoors, York Realty, Affordable SEO and Marketing, and last but not least, Butt Kicker. So looking at these last lap times, Rick, you still see Sarkozy running basically about a second faster than the rest of the field. Not unexpected because he has fresher tires. But what surprises me is these drivers, I think they could possibly make it to the end. I didn't think they could, but with 10 laps to go, they possibly could make it to the end, Rick.
I think they are. I think that's their plan. So that puts 60-plus laps on these tires.
At that point, you risk a puncture. I heard a car tap the wall. I don't know where, but I heard a car tap the wall. Not sure exactly where, but Rick, don't look too far back. Ty Bostic still there. He's been there all race.
5.48 seconds behind. He is biding his time. He's in the solid second position for sure.
He's got to make up about half a tenth a lap. So we'll see if he challenges this number 9 machine, if he's just now coming off of turn 4.
That last lap by Alan Crowell was a 39.19. That was it wasn't the fastest, but it was nearly the fastest lap. Only by Mark Sarkozy was he outpaced. So he is not slacking off. He's outpacing his competition. Ty Bostic's lap was a 39.21. Justin Dills a 39.51, and Ryan Chapman a 39.68. So there is certainly some consistency continuing on with how Alan is approaching these last 10 laps.
Absolutely, and Sikosi right there, his next battle, he wants to try to get on the podium. He's about 10 seconds away from Diltz and Chapman. So Sikosi, that's his next closest victim, if you want to call it, on the track. And he does have the fresher tires, and he is now down to 11 seconds behind these guys. So we'll see if Mark's able to pull off maybe a little bit of a miracle. Maybe we'll be able to talk to him at the end of the race. Who knows? But right now, he is sitting nice in P5 here at the Twin Rings in Motegi. So right now, the closest battle on the track is actually between Diltz and Chapman there for third and fourth. I mean, it's not really much of a battle, but they're the closest two cars on the track, so we're going to call it a battle. But you can only have so many battles when you have 5 cars on the track, 6 cars on the track. But right now, they are really about a second between each other, running very consistent lap times. Ty Bostic has cut the lead down to 5.2 seconds, 5.3 seconds. Don't think he's going to do anything there, unfortunately. But that is your closest battle right now between Diltz and Chapman.
Well, with 6 laps to go, we're about to wrap up this event here at Motegi. We don't often get a chance to broadcast something from this track, and this has been certainly entertaining as we watch these Infinity class cars make their way around this track.
Absolutely, and it's definitely awesome to see these cars on this track. So it's been a fun, interesting race here in Japan. Definitely a long race, just mainly because there hasn't been many drivers on the track. But you know what? That's okay. These drivers are putting on a great show tonight for the NSRL series. And don't look too far back, Rick, but Sikosi is now 5 seconds behind Chapman. So, will Sikosi pass somebody? I really want somebody to pass somebody. Can't tell. I'm looking for some passing. And right now, let's see what the gap is between Chapman and Sikosi. It is about 5 seconds. About 4 seconds, actually. Let me take that back. It's about 4 seconds between those two drivers. So, can Sikosi make up enough time to pass his teammate? Who knows? Justin Diltz, who knows? My bad. Chapman, rather. Can he pass it? There's so many elevated guys, I can't keep track. Yeah, let's see if Sikosi can pass him. He's now down to 3 seconds, Rick. That is going to be your battle. He is driving that thing hard. He's like, I want to make it the P4, and Chapman looks like he's struggling pretty bad right now. He can't get much run off a corner at all, and Sikosi is on his tail.
Well, we're down to 4 laps to go. The opportunity is there if Mark Sarkozy can take over the 4th place position from Ryan Chapman. Ryan's, I tell you, as they put 60 plus laps on these tires, these lap times are now at the 40-second mark for Ryan Chapman, and Sarkozy has really bested that by a second and a half last time around. There's a chance.
And there it is.
And there it is.
Yep, Mark Sikosi is going to be in P4 easily in this race tonight. He had a strategy. He thought it could possibly work. You know, you never know. Maybe there's a caution with 3 to go, Rick. You never know what can happen, but he has his sights on Justin Diltz.
Well, Justin, he is actually gaining us. His last lap time is a second and a half better than Justin Diltz. So is there a possibility? Yes, it certainly is possible.
Maybe. As you see the one car all the way up in the track, I think he's actually in the wall a little bit. That's the one of Wiggins all the way up on the high side there. But it looks like we are about to get, whoa, sevens in the wall. There.
He saved it. That would have definitely scrambled this last 2 laps of this event.
Yes, it would have. But as these guys are making around, Alan about to take the white flag in the Motegi 190. Elevated Motorsports is running 1, 3, 4, 5 in this race, and Alan has been the most consistent out of those 4 cars. He's been running a great race there in the Elevated Motorsports number 9 machine rather. There in that green, white, and yellow number 9. Great run from him, Rick, as he is now setting sail on a win here in Japan. Always awesome to go to a racetrack like this, away from the States, and win a race. Alan Crowell is your winner here in the Motegi 190.
Congratulations to Alan Crowell. Your second place driver will be Ty Bostic as he takes that flag. He takes your second place position. Justin Diltz is coming around and he will take third. And Mark Sarkozy.
Whoa, here comes Mark. Not enough.
He held him off. It was close.
It was close. It was close. Justin Diltz comes home in P3, Sarkozy in 4th, Chapman in 5th, Wiggins finishes in 6th, Miller is in 7th, Barrier in 8th, and rounding out your field tonight at Motegi, Dan Withers.
Well, very interesting race as we can watch our most consistent driver, Alan Crowell, celebrate his victory.
Yeah, he's got a lot of room to burn out on this front stretch. This place is wide. So go ahead and burn it down, Alan. You were the king of stage 3, and you were the king of the long run speed. So congratulations to Alan Crowell there in the number 9 machine. It looks like Dan Withers had to pick up some family at the airport tonight. That's why he had to back out of the race. So makes a lot of sense. But he did get a top 10. You are right, Dan. You did get a top 10 here in the race tonight, which is, something that we've talked about recently, Rick. Even if you have a small field, come out and get some points because those points always matter at the end of a season.
They sure do. So we can bring up our results for tonight. Alan Crowell has finished as your winner. Ty Bostic in 2nd. Justin Diltz in 3rd. Mark Sarkozy leads his charge from his pit strategy back to finish in 4th place. Ryan Chapman in 5th. Brian Wiggins in 6th. James Miller in 7th. Brandon Berrier finishes in 8th. And Dan Withers closes out the field in 9th.
All right, Rick, let's see if we can get Justin Diltz in here for an interview talk to the P3 driver out of Elevated Outdoors and Motorsports, Elevated Motorsports rather. So let's see if we can bring him in to chat.
All right, Justin, congratulations on your P3.
Hey, Rick, what's going on, guys? Hey,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would say, yeah, you had a solid run tonight there towards the end, just due to these tires. But give us a rundown of this very interesting track here in Japan, and I'd like your take on what track you think this track represents the most, or is equal to when it comes to the actual Cup Series tracks.
Definitely a unique track. We enjoy running tracks like this. We're an open series league, so this throws a little wrench into it because there's no setup out there to buy for it. Nowhere really to start, so it really makes it hard to do a setup for it. I can give you a couple tracks that we kind of worked around this week. I don't want to say too much because we got any Cup guys listening for tomorrow. I don't want to give out no secrets. But yeah, I mean, we had some tracks thrown out there like Kentucky, Texas. We had some other guys trying to throw out Darlington and stuff, but we had to, kind of reel them in that thought. Definitely a lot of different tracks get thrown out. You definitely got that, the sweeping corners in 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 real tight, easy to overdrive.
So you had a very interesting race tonight, Justin. We saw you being very dominant through those early stages, and then something happened later in that stage between you and the 7 car. Not quite sure what happened there. If you have any insight as to what happened there.
We definitely had a really fast setup for tonight, especially compared to some other people. We definitely had an upper hand, I think. I'm glad to see an elevated car win. I definitely, man, it was one of my better races I think that I've had all year so far, and I just had a mental breakdown going into beginning of the third stage. I was actually just sitting here watching it back. I do know Ryan. I don't know if it was right at the end of the second stage or somewhere. That beginning of that third stage a little bit foggy for me right now. I'm trying to go back and see exactly what happened. Like I said, I know I had a mental breakdown, overdrove 3. Got up into the wall, and then I think we had a caution come out because of something that happened between Wiggins and Ryan. But and then it was just downhill from there for me. But congratulations to Alan.
Good finish and heck of a race by Alan.
Yes, I'd love to see him get a win finally in NSRL. He's been pushing, grinding really hard. So congratulations to him, and I want to thank everybody, including you guys, for sticking it out with us right now. I know we don't got very many racers out right now. We're thinking I might have to do a little bit with the unique track this week. So hopefully next week we get a better showing, and we can put on some good shows for you guys, and you guys keep doing what you enjoy doing.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
All right, Rick, John, appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody watching, coming out and racing, and looking forward to more, guys.
That's
Absolutely.
great.
That is
brother.
Justin Diltz, your P3 position tonight. They're out of Elevated Motorsports, rather. And let's bring in our P2, Ty Bostic. You are now in the booth with John and Rick. How's it going? How was that race?
I'm doing good, man. How are y'all?
Doing good. Absolutely. So I was kind of predicting you to have a strong long run car. You seem to always be there at the end of stage 1 and stage 2.
Yeah, my car felt really good there at the end on the first 2 stages. The second stage, when I took over P2, I saw I had quite a gap between me and Alan, and he had a good pace, so I kind of backed it off and didn't push it quite as hard on that last stage, and didn't work out because he had long run speed too. But P2's nice. I'll take it.
Well, congratulations on your P2 finish. We certainly were highlighting you as we watched your charge up and down through the field on occasion. So, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got it kind of swirly a couple times throughout the race too, so that hurt me a little bit. Kind of had more momentum through corners a couple times and kind of decided to slam on brakes instead of slamming the guy in front of me. So
well, it's an interesting track. This is not a typical track you see like Milwaukee or a typical mile and a half. So, it's always going to be a little bit different.
Absolutely, it was a lot of fun. It's like a Darlington, New Hampshire hybrid. Is what it seems like to me.
Yeah, that's it. That's actually the exact 2 tracks that I referred to, Rick. Both of those tracks earlier in the race. Good job tonight. Able to break up the elevated outdoor dominance of Kroll there, Diltz and Sikosi, Chapman, all those guys. So congratulations on the P2. Anybody you'd like to shout out or anybody you want to give a thanks to tonight after the race?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to my parents. They're always watching these races. They always enjoy them. So shout out to them. And thank y'all for what y'all do. Y'all do a good job.
All right. Thank you. That's your second place driver. Let's go ahead and see if we can bring Alan in.
Alan, this is John and Rick up in the booth. Congratulations on your victory tonight.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, you conquered one of the only Japanese tracks on this calendar this year. And give me a rundown of exactly how you approached this race, because I was speculating, okay, what track does this look like? Looks very similar to maybe a Milwaukee, a Darlington. That's kind of what I've heard from other drivers. Give me kind of a rundown of exactly how you even approach the track that doesn't even have a setup.
Oh, it's tough. To be honest, going into it, we raced it last year in the Cup Series, and I did not have a grip on this track. in the practice that we had just before we got into the race lobby, I still didn't have a grip on it, and then me and Diltz came up with a setup with combining his and mine, and it kind of worked.
Well, it definitely worked for you.
Yeah, it definitely made it a lot easier. I can tell you that.
I tell you, what we saw was just, especially through that last stage, was the consistency. You know, even whatever setup you had, your ability to hit your marks and replicate that lap after lap was certainly a key we saw in your consistent lap times.
Yeah. After going through the first 2 stages, I didn't know how I was going to hold the tires on because I was pushing tight in 3 and 4 at the end of the stages after 30 laps. And honestly, I couldn't tell if it was our setup worked good for 25 laps and then it pushed tight, or if it was because I got some runs on a couple people there in the first 2 stages and my brake was so touchy. As soon as I touched it, it would lock up. So I didn't know if it was just I had flat spotted him in those first 2 stages, and then that last stage came and I had no one out in front of me, and I'm like, okay. And then once I got away from Mark and Ty a little bit, I'm like, okay, I can start to coast it in the corners even more and save tire, and if they catch up, I can go a little bit deeper and whatnot. But
well, we were definitely speculating in the booth when Mark short pitted and grabbed fresh tires, just whether he was able to charge back. So he certainly made it interesting.
Yeah, I was almost thinking, yeah, well, I'm going to need to do this. And then I saw how far Mark was behind and how long the lap times were. And I'm like, okay, there's only a certain amount of laps left. I don't think he can catch me.
No, the hard part about this track is pit road speed. When it's nearly a full minute, 50 plus seconds. Once you get on pit road, get your pit stop done and get back off, that's a solid lap plus.
Yeah, it is definitely not like any other track we run.
Fair. Yeah,
that is for certain.
Well, again, congratulations on your victory here at Motegi, and we wish you all the luck. Any shout-outs you'd like to make at this time?
I just want to thank you guys and thank the team for helping me figure out this track a little bit.
Okay.
Well, absolutely there, Alan. Great run tonight, and look forward to hopefully talking to you maybe next week and obviously as the season progresses.
Yep, I'm hoping I talk to you guys more often than not.
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right, that's your winner. That's Alan Crowell here at the Motegi 190 with the NSRL series.
Yeah, Rick, it was definitely an interesting one. Order definitely a factor, as well as and the strategy was the major role in tonight's race. So if you are still watching, make sure to like and subscribe wherever you are listening to the IWM Broadcast Network so you can catch this Speed Demon Grand National NSRL series here every Tuesday night. We are going to be broadcasting live next Tuesday at a track that is making a resurgence, North Wilkesboro, in the Wilkes, I guess, the Wilkes 200. Next week, the 28th, same time, same series, same broadcast network. So, Rick, look forward to broadcasting with you again next week at a very historic track.
One of my favorite tracks. So, again, thank you for tuning in to the IWM broadcast of the NSRL Grand National Series. We appreciate you liking and following us to stay up to date on what's happening here at the IWM Network. I'm your host, Rick Souza, my co-host, John Drugis. We thank you for tuning in and have a safe night.
Have a good one, guys.